Well, y'all, we found another line that you'd think a normal human wouldn't cross, but the lefties seem to do it. They videotaped it, they added commentary. They invaded actual churches because they wanted to really send the point that you can protest ICE by disrupting services of an actual congregation in the middle of church on a Sunday morning. This is going to be the beginning of the biggest backfire, backlash, FAFO these psychopaths have done to date. You're about to watch the overt and complete and total reversal on any sympathy that these assholes were getting. It is genuinely about to come full circle, and I'm going to show you the entire thing because they always do this every single time. And I need you guys to help me fight this. I need you to send this out, share this out. I don't know if this video is going to be suppressed, and hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn the notification bell on, because quite honestly, when I say we're fighting for our country, we're to save our country, this is what I'm talking about. These people are unhinged. They're psychopaths. But here's the thing. It's going to come out in the wash, and they just crossed a line that all the people who are being sympathetic to their cause are going to abandon them quickly. Watch. All right. So as I'm sure you heard over the weekend, I was on a plane when this happened, but this dillhole decided that he was going to organize a protest and start basically just going after men, women, and children in this congregation because he didn't like ICE. Again, I'm going to show you some of this clip, and then I'm going to show you how Don Lemon was involved and how he's getting some heat on it too, and now there's a DOJ investigation. Watch this. I'm telling you, this is how it turns around because they go too far every single time.
As you can see, all these pretend Christians, all these comfortable white people who are living lavish, comfortable lives while children are dragged into concentration camps. You're living real life, nice lives with your lattes, doing absolutely nothing for your Latino and Somali brothers and sisters. You come here to a man wearing a suit. Is a preacher? Did Jesus wear a suit? Did Jesus profit off the words? No! Jesus would die within it. Do not touch me. Touch me again and see what happens.
Hey, you can't. Don't
You are a fake Christian. Why are you not standing with your Somali and Latino communities? Why do I not see you out at Whipple every day protesting this attack on humanity? Where are you? You're sinners. You're pretending to be Christians. But we know you live an easy life, don't you? A very easy life while people are starving. Shame. Out now. Out now.
All right, you guys get the idea, right? So we're going to go big screen for this one, because here's the thing. What you just witnessed was a tie-in of all the left-wing social mind-rotting psychotic ideologies. You had class warfare, you had social warfare, you had antagonism, you had aggression, you had interruption, you had anti-religion, you had everything that ties together the modern-day leftist. You throw in a little bit of a flashpoint of a psychopath like this, and you get a problem. Yo, they're now going after everyday mom, pop, brother, sister, anybody who's watching this video. You're in a church pew, or you're doing whatever you do, and they're coming aggressively at you, interrupting your church service while you're doing nothing. You're completely unrelated to any issue going outside. But because you are not protesting like they are, you're just as guilty. It's the exact same thing as the racist versus anti-racist. You cannot be a racist, but if you're not actively fighting racism, you're a racist. This is the whole point. It's a nonstop virtue signal to bully people into doing exactly what they want. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. This guy's real lucky he didn't do this in the South. I'm just going to say it. You guys can sound off in the comments on that one. But this is the whole point. They've got to go out there and make everyone uncomfortable. What these morons don't understand is, just like every far-left progressive movement that they create or attempt to create, it's going to backfire greatly, because everybody who went down the angle of she was just a mom driving her kid to school are the exact same people who are going to go, they're just people in church. What the are you doing? The exact same blade cuts both ways. All right, let's keep on trucking, guys. I got some more stuff to show you here, because apparently it's perfectly fine. This is normal, according to Don Lemon, who was magically there, who's going to catch some DOJ issues, honestly. But watch this. Again, you listen to the language that I'm about to play for you, and you tell me if he's just a happenstance observer. He's not endorsing it at all. I'm sure he had nothing to do with it. Yeah, watch this.
This is the beginning of what's going to happen here. When you violate people's due process, when you pull people off the street, you start dragging them and hurting them and and not abiding by the Constitution, when you start doing all of that, people get upset and angry. And if you remember what the Civil Rights Movement was about, the Civil Rights Movement was about these very kinds of protests. There's nothing in the Constitution that tells you what time you can protest. You can protest at any time. That's the whole point of it, is to disrupt. It's to make uncomfortable. And that's what they're doing. And that's what I believe when I say everyone has to be willing to sacrifice something. You have to make people uncomfortable in these times. If you see how uncomfortable people uncomfortably...
Oh, the people are uncomfortable, but I'm going to be honest with you. It's not for the reason that you think, you moron. Here's the underlying principle here. This guy was totally in for this. He's looking for clicks. He's looking for notoriety because he misses the spotlight of being on CNN. In my opinion, he's a low IQ hack. Like, fine, cool, whatever. But this is the entire point. They tie everything back to the civil rights movement. They're always chasing a new civil rights movement. They want to be involved in their civil rights movement because their lives have no meaning, in my own personal opinion. But this is not the civil rights movement. I don't remember a civil rights movement having a bunch of protesters go inside of a church and then start disrupting the entire service. Now, I remember the forces of evil that were bombing churches, and I remember how that went. You know, killing innocent young girls. I remember that too. And look how that went. If you start going after people in their religious services, and you start going after people in their religious houses of worship, every backlash you get is going to be 100% deserved. Because if this kind of crap continues to happen, honestly, I think one was enough. People just saw what it was. But if it continues to happen, like Don Lemon is saying, you've got to sacrifice something, you're not only talking about the midterms politically for the Democrats being gone, you're talking about a complete and total annihilation of the thought process of the entire left, just like we saw with Donald Trump in the last election. Because BLM, they tried to tie it to the civil rights movement. They tried to do uncomfortable protest, and it ended up all the little leaders of BLM started embezzling the funds to the tune of multiple houses and multiple millions of dollars, and they're all arrested federally. So yeah, it works out real great every time they do this kind of crap. But anyway, let's keep on going. Again, you can tell this is a little near and dear to my heart, and I, again, would like to say, I'm really glad they didn't do this in the South. Okay, let's keep on trucking. Here's Don Lemon saying that he did not have anything to do with this. He just happened to be walking by. He happened to see them, and he was like, hark, individuals, let's journalism. You heard the commentary. Watch this.
MAGA administration and the fake news MAGAs are losing their mind over something that's not even true. So let me just make it clear, because this assistant attorney general, I don't know, gosh, what's her name? Something Hammett, Dillon or whatever. So I had no affiliation to that organization. I didn't even know they were going to this church until we followed them there. We were there chronicling protests. Once the protest started in the church, we did an act of journalism, which was report on it and talk to the people who were involved, which included the pastor, members of the church, and members of the organization. That's it. It's called journalism. First Amendment, all that stuff. For all of you people who believe in the First Amendment, absolutist, there you go. So why don't you talk to the actual person who is in charge of the organization and whose idea it was to have the protest at the church before you start blaming me for stuff for which you have no idea.
So there's going to be something. Okay, here, come here. First of all, this guy is a irrelevant hack, and he knows he's irrelevant, and he's just trying to reach for relevancy. That's my own personal take on Don Lemon, because he doesn't have intelligent takes. He just... Okay, anyway. Here's the thing. You know, there's an old adage that I grew up with in the South that said just because you can doesn't mean you should, right? And they're about to find out about just because you can doesn't mean you should, because this is going to reflect abysmally bad on the entire Democratic brand, because they are tied to psychopathic leftists. You want to make a bet right now? I'll make a bet with you guys. I will, I can't facilitate it. Let's just say hypothetically make a bet with you. I'm in Vegas. Hey, you're going to see Democrat leaders, once the polling starts to turn on this, and everyone's like, that's disgusting and gross, no longer virtuous, you're going to see them come out and say, yeah, we understand they're angry, we understand there's emotion, but that's a line too far. You're going to see it. They're going to try to dance the line. They're going to try to thread the needle of, we shouldn't do this, but people are angry. They're virtuously angry, but they probably shouldn't interrupt church. That's what you're going to see. A mealy-mouthed response going both ways. But now, let me get back to this one little thing, because this is where the FAFO comes in. See, this is where Donnie's going to get a little in trouble. Assistant Attorney General Harmeet Dillon announced the DOJ is investigating the left-wing insurrection at the Christian Minneapolis church. Liberal agitators terrified Christians who were inside worshiping while Democrat Don Lemon live-streamed it. Amazing how you just happen to find it in live-streaming, right? The Civil Rights Division is investigating the potential violations of the Federal FACE Act by these people desecrating a house of worship and interfering with Christian worshipers at AG Bondi. Here's the thing, guys, and I'm going to wrap with this, and we're going to cover this a whole lot more because the left is losing power, which is why they are thrashing. They are a cornered animal, and they don't like it. They are now going into churches and disrupting a non-connected, completely innocent service. I guarantee you that is going to have a very negative reaction from the population. Guarantee it. Because our country is not gone. Our country is not unsavable. Our country is not in a position where we can't reject this type of psychosis. But when you push hard enough on near and dear issues, and when a lot of the moms start to see all of their children and their husbands and themselves be imagined in a position where they can be accosted, violently screamed at, or yelled at inside of the church sermon when they're trying to go and just worship, it's going to end very, very poorly politically. And I'm here for it. I'm going to show you the entire thing. And I'm going to defeat these people come hell or high water, because we got a mission and we've got a country to save. Listen, I love each and every one of you guys. I will see you on the next one. I'm Braden. Later.